like a chrysalis, we have begun to liquefy ourselves, and soon we will emerge from the theme song into a fully realized podcast with wings. Somebody please interrupt me.
No, keep going. I would never.
What?
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Midlight Crisis, a real podcast hosted by three grown-up biologists revisiting books from our teens, and it's totally cool. I am one of your hosts, Sophie, and today I have been genetically recombined with a bird that has a superpower, but only 2%. So it's not much. Don't
Only
worry.
2% of a superpower?
This is a great question. Thanks for asking. 2% of a bird that has a superpower. I realize it's unclear. So science has yet to determine what percent of that is the superpower.
Yeah.
Anyway, the superpowered bird that I have been genetically recombined with today is a space disaster chickadee.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know which part is the superpower and which part is the noun describing the bird. Because normally there are three parts: the superpower, the adjective, noun, and then the bird species. And in this case, I think it's a disaster chickadee that has the superpower space, and I don't know what that means.
Is it from space, maybe?
Maybe.
You know how people are like, oh my god, space aliens, meaning that the aliens come from space?
But then it should be insert superpower space chickadee, you know?
Well, it was already a disaster chickadee on its home planet. And then it came from space to this one.
Okay, so this is like a Superman situation.
Yeah.
He is just a guy, but from space.
So you're just a regular disaster chickadee.
Mm-hmm.
But then you were in space.
Aren't we all just disaster chickadees in space, if you think about it?
Think about it.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, glad we didn't clear that up. Who are you guys and what are you?
My name's Sam, and today I am 2% a Jedi mind tricks waterfall pelican.
Okay, sorry. I need to ask about the sorry, you said a Jedi mind tricked? Like past tense?
No, tricks.
Okay. I was like, wait, is your superpower that you have been tricked? No, okay, this makes way more sense.
Jedi mind tricks waterfall pelican.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are pelicans like your least favorite bird?
Yeah,
I'm terrified.
I think we talked about this. Haven't you been a pelican before? The pelicans
them.
keep coming for you, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I like the name. Like the word pelican is a good word.
It is a good word.
And in concept, pelicans are very cool birds. But then when you see them in person, they're like the scariest thing ever.
They're so big.
They're so big, and they have no boundaries, and they will attack you. The pelicans in Key West, no bounds. They will hurt you.
Oh.
Yeah, but that might just be Florida.
Florida
That might
bird.
just be Florida. It's true.
Florida The only thing I can think of every time pelicans are mentioned is my brain just immediately provides that like viral Tumblr post that was just like a picture of a pelican with its mouth open, and the caption is like, "Pelican mouth, perfect place for a baby. Put baby in pelican mouth. Nice and comfy for baby. Support head and neck."
Oh my god.
I don't think I saw that one.
Me neither.
Lives rent-free in my head for 10 years. Anyway, who's the last one on this podcast?
Me. I'm also here. My name is Hannah, and today 2% of my superpowers come from being a spooky ocean turkey.
Whoa! Ocean turkey.
Ocean turkey, but
spooky.
Spooky.
The place where you definitely won't find turkeys.
Hopefully not.
Maybe there's a deep sea spooky one.
Yeah,
Whoa.
maybe that's why it's spooky, because you're out on the ocean, you're like, oh my god, a turkey? Whoa.
You're far from home.
You don't belong here, sir.
It's like they can barely fly. Imagine them trying to swim.
My god. I'm imagining them, you know how a lot of like smaller birds, like songbirds, end up on islands because they get blown out there during storms?
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining that happening to a whole ass turkey.
Or you're on like your cross oceanic ship and just like a turkey lands on your boat.
And you're like, ah,
Like
shit.
you're like out in the middle of the ocean. It's like, oh dang. Guess we're bringing this turkey with us.
Well, spooky, where did it come from?
Spooky. Turkeys are already pretty spooky.
They are kind of spooky. They're really big.
Yeah, with that weird skin thing they have on their face.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Yeah, it's weird how humans are mostly bare skin, but when any other animal does it, it's really unsettling.
It is pretty unsettling. We put clothes on top because we're unsettled.
That's probably why. No other reason.
No. Anyway, the reason we have been genetically recombined with birds that have superpowers is because we are reading Maximum Ride. Still. How about you guys tell us what happened in the chapters we read this week?
Well, we get off to a fast-paced start with the flock making a speedy escape from the eraser-filled restaurant and making it to their stolen van without getting caught. Max takes off, causing probably a dozen car accidents along the way with her reckless driving, and eventually they end up driving through a cornfield trying to outdrive the erasers. Just when they think they are clear of the chase and out of the cornfield, a black sedan jumps out in front of them and Max hits them full on at 60 miles an hour, which that is bad.
Oh my god.
Very bad. So
Yeah.
the aftermath of the hit takes us to chapter 58, where Max is bleeding profusely from her nose, Fang is almost decapitated by his seatbelt, and the rest of the bird kids are pretty shaken up to say the least. The erasers start breaking into the van, and Max yells at everyone to run, but the Gasman and Iggy are the only ones to escape, while Nudge, Fang, and Max are in the hands of the erasers, with the sound of a chopper fast approaching.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang, indeed.
Not a great one.
Oh, just you wait.
I know.
Weirdly, there's a bit of a time skip preceding chapter 59, which picks up with Max, Fang, and Nudge in dog crates alongside Angel at the school. Max is having flashbacks, Fang is dissociating, and Nudge is on the verge of a total meltdown. And I don't know why we thought this book would be fun to read, because this sucks a lot.
Yeah.
Not enjoying these particular chapters, where Angel says that she needs to tell Max something. But before she can, she is interrupted by the something walking into the room. It's Jeb, of course, and Max goes from furious to shocked to even more furious. Then chapter 60 is just an upsetting look into the depth of betrayal that Max feels upon learning that Jeb has been alive and white coating this whole time. He acts like he's done nothing wrong, and at the end of the chapter, Jeb says that he needs to talk to Max, and he opens her dog cage door.
Ugh.
What the hell, Sophie? I blame you for the fact that this is depressing.
Yeah, but it's been so fun up until this point.
Some parts of it have been
Has it?
fun.
I had to read Midnight Sun because of you guys.
We arguably all like Twilight.
We did all like Twilight.
And none of us liked Midnight Sun.
No. None of us like
No.
Twilight now.
That's for sure.
No.
The great news about this podcast is that none of us are going to like any of these books by the time we're done.
Yeah. How to ruin a book in 74
In
chapters.
2 years.
In 2 years.
So efficient. Anyway, these chapters were so sad.
They were all extremely depressing, and they just got worse.
Yeah.
Like, the first one was bad enough. It's like,
Mhm.
man, they're in peril. They're, like, causing traffic accidents. They're probably hurting people. Oh my god, they just got T-boned. And then you read the rest of the chapters, and it ends with, oh, Max's entire world is crumbling around her. And also, she's in jail.
Yep.
Yep.
I guess even worse, she's in school.
Yeah.
Oh.
Birdkid jail.
School, more like purgatory.
That was
Put
good.
those words back in your mouth.
No,
Listen.
that was good. That was well
was
done.
good.
You know Max would say that also.
Yeah, she would.
Max and Edward Cullen, surprisingly
No.
similar.
Oh my god. Okay.
In this essay, I will. Anyway, clearly we don't want to talk about these chapters.
No.
But we should start at the start of the chapters. I want to talk about how birds flock together.
Do they have to be of a feather?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
So at the beginning of the first chapter we read, chapter 57, there's like this whole flock plan of they're chowing down on their McDonald's meal. And Max is like, nudge, Gaswood, don't look up. In 3 seconds, jump over Fang and out that exit door. And then, giving no sign that they heard me, Nudge and Iggy kept chewing. It's like, wait, do you mean the gas man? Anyway, it doesn't matter because they all have to get out of there anyway. They pretend they didn't hear it, and then like all at once they just like leap out, Nudge first with the gas man practically glued to her back, out the door, and the other 3 follow very quickly. And so I wanted to talk about bird flocking behavior because of that.
I would love for you to do that.
Yeah, because a big mystery in bird behavior is how, like, if you look at a flock of birds, like, you know when starlings do like a murmuration or like there's a big flock, and if there's like a predator or something, or even when they're on the ground and like one bird will take off and then all of them will take off at the same time. In the air or on the ground, it's always been kind of confusing how birds like know what's going on or what the flock is doing and how they can react so quickly to something that in theory they can't even see. And so it's only like recently that they've started to figure it out. And it's that birds can usually like count up to a specific number. Yeah. So like pigeons can like discreetly understand that 6 things exist.
What?
Like 6 objects. They can technically count up to 6.
Oh my god, they're like watership rabbits. Watership
Like-
down rabbits can count to 5, and anything more than 5 is 1,000 or uncountable.
That kind of makes sense. Because
Yeah.
they're also flocking.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think like starlings can count up to 7 or 8 or something like that. And it's thought that the like number that they can count up to essentially is how many birds around them in the flock they pay attention to at the same time. So like being in a flock of like 1,000 birds, it would be way too overwhelming to focus on all of your immediate neighbors and what they were doing. And so for their like cognitive capacity, they focus on like 6 individuals that are around them. And when those individuals do something, they react to that, right? And so if every bird is focusing on like a little cluster around them, that's how things can move really quickly and how they can react even if they don't see a predator or something, right?
Okay.
And so that's my theory as to why the flock of bird kids is so good at coordinated.
Yeah, that makes
Activity.
sense.
Although
I guess. Does it?
Hawks don't really do. Don't worry about it.
I was like, how close are hawks and pigeons?
So close.
Listen, both of them can live in cities.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, a lot of raptors will migrate together.
Oh.
Like, usually you
okay.
get big, like, even just like multi-species migration groups. So maybe that's something? I don't really
That's
know.
cool. I think, as we'll find out later in some of these chapters, they did spend a lot of the last 4 years since they've been out of the school training to fight and work together.
Yeah.
So I love Sophie's idea, but I feel like it's probably more likely that this is a trained behavior, or that's not the right way to talk about it when it's people doing it.
A team behavior, like people together,
a practice
lot, doing the
behavior.
Same thing.
Yeah, they're a team. Clearly, none of us are into team sports. Okay.
Sure. Well, I just wanted noted that the bird behavior that I was reading about was referred to as a cheerleader wave
Oh,
because it's like the same sort of where you're not
Yeah.
watching just only the person right next to you. You have to watch like a couple people out
right.
Yeah.
in order to
Interesting.
react.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, basically a team behavior if you think about it.
Yeah, it's a team behavior.
Yeah.
They're basically a sports ball team
Yeah.
of bird kids, and their sport is running away from erasers.
Yeah. I think the other thing they called it was a chorus line behavior, which is also fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is that humans can count to a little bit higher than 6. So
Yeah, just a few. Also, there's only 5 of them.
bird kids can only count to 5. We've confirmed.
Well, but there's usually 6 of them, so they can
Okay.
count at least to 6.
At least to 6.
Add that to the biology facts.
Yeah, bird kids can count to 6.
Confirmed can count to at least 6.
Mm-hmm. That was all I had to say about that, really. Although maybe the erasers also do it because they are wolves, which are also pack creatures.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like there's some like weird kinetic thing going on with the erasers too.
Right?
I feel like there's some telekinesis or something, or telepathy.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Telepathy.
Or like kinetic movement. Yeah, they used to think that
Did
birds.
you say kinetic movement?
That's what Sam said.
I know I said telekinesis, but I meant telepathy. I always get them mixed up. I meant that they can like talk to each other's brains, and then my head just was like, maybe that's why they're studying Angel, so that they can all be telepathic with each other.
Could be.
Right.
Maybe they have radios.
I love the enthusiasm.
This is great that you said radios because they used to think that birds, the way that they talked, the way that they communicated, quote unquote, in these flocks was through somebody called a biological radio.
Oh, fun.
Huh?
Oh, and I was reading it. The guy was like, we didn't know what it was or how it could possibly work or what was like. We had no basis for it, but people were so confused by how birds were doing what they were doing that people were like, maybe.
It's like, maybe this.
Yeah. They also thought it was like they could feel each other somehow, like
fish.
Yeah, like a lateral line, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think that's not one of the theories now for birds.
Great.
So either the erasers have a lateral line or I almost said telekinesis. No. Telepathy.
I mean, the erasers are wolves, which have whiskers. And those are sort of like sensory. Like you can feel what's around you on your whiskers. How do birds keep from bumping into each other? Did you say they don't know that yet?
With their eyeballs.
But there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Even though they have, like, flocks look like birds are packed in really closely, they're usually not. Like, they have enough space to move. But again, this is the thing where they are looking like several birds out. And so they see like 3 birds away, a bird start to come towards them. So they start to move away even before their neighbor has reacted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's why murmurations look like that.
Yeah, because it's like a ripple that is too smooth for it to be like only looking at their neighbor kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
So I imagine if their neighbor just decided to go right, they would run into each other.
Yeah. So how do you think this applies to the fact that Max keeps like almost running into other cars whilst she is attempting to drive this van very quickly?
Well, they aren't full of bird kids is the problem.
Oh. And so if they were full of bird kids, she could see them. And
I said they had to be of a feather.
True, you did say that. Hoisted by my own stupid joke.
Yep.
Okay, but in reality, how many accidents do we think she caused? Because
so many.
Like so many.
Oh my god, so many. She's like weaving in and out of traffic. I think she goes into the oncoming lane for a second.
Yeah.
And like I think this is something that these books and like movies and everything, they always kind of don't highlight, because it's always about, oh, the heroes are getting away, or oh, the heroes protagonists are saving the day. But I'm like, how many people died because of this?
So many people died.
Right? It always hits me. And like the scene in particular, I was just like, There's a teenage girl with no driving experience, probably, like, just killed 5 people, at least.
Yeah, and they explicitly T-bone someone going almost 100 kilometers per hour.
Yeah,
Well, that's
and
one of
I've
the
been in an
erasers.
accident where I've hit someone, like, I think I was going 70 kilometers an hour, and, like, no, like, it's just so bad. Anyways, this chapter brought out a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah, no, the older I get, the more I start becoming concerned with property damage in
Right?
movies and books. I'm like, man, someone probably worked so hard to buy that car. Like, they're just trying to get to work so they can feed their family, and you've flipped their car, and now they might be disabled, and like they're in the United States and they're not going to get enough money to live on if you've just like caused them a disabling accident, even if they did survive.
This is the problem with also like getting older as the economy is getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it that we're getting older, or is it that it just becomes more and more impossible to think about replacing a whole house or a car?
Yeah, probably a combination of both.
Yeah. Yeah, because it like explicitly says that the semi-trailer that they swerve to avoid scrapes a car. There's a crunch
Yeah.
of metal, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That was the one that got me, because I was just like, that probably caused that car to, like, flip or something like that. Like, that did not
Uh-huh.
have a happy ending.
No,
Like, the
definitely
other
not.
thing is, there's no reason for them to have gotten back in the van except for plot. Because,
Yeah,
like, they should have
because they
just
should have
run
just flown away.
and flown away.
That's what I also thought. I was like, why did they get back in the van? They would have made much more ground just flying. It doesn't make any sense.
I assume they can get their wings out of their coats pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
I would hope
If it was like
so.
they have to take off all of their coats and then like stretch out their wings and warm up or whatever before they fly, then I could see being like, everybody get in the van, it'll be faster.
In a previous chapter, they were driving because they wanted to not be obvious.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's why it's like, oh, they have to stay in the car now. And it's like, okay, but the erasers now know that you're within, like,
Exactly.
spitting
Yeah.
distance of the school. They know you're coming.
Yeah,
Like,
that
there's no
ship has
point.
sailed.
Well,
Yeah.
and there was at one point where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have to jump out of the van and start flying." So it's just like, what? Like, you should have just flown from the start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Make any sense to me?
it
This-
truly doesn't.
This was to trap them in the van so that the
Mhm.
erasers could
Yeah.
get them.
Uh-huh.
Or is it just to show that, like, they are kids and that they don't think things through fully? I don't know, but, like, it's definitely more of, like, a plot device and doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe that they all just panic and they're like, we got here in the van, we're leaving here in the van, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, that seems reasonable to me,
Yeah.
but it's
Really-
definitely a plot device.
Really showing that they are 98% human, because birds, obviously, the flight response.
Yeah. Birds don't drive, so
Yeah. Yet.
I do like that as Max is driving like an insane person through these streets and causing carnage, Fang gets like annoyed that no, Max interprets Fang as being annoyed that they didn't steal a faster car.
Yeah.
It's like priorities, Fang, my dude.
Like maybe a Jeep Wrangler.
Like maybe a Jeep Wrangler. I did actually do some brief Googling because I'm like, are there fast cars? Like the word in the book that was specifically used was race car, and there aren't like race cars that are designed to carry multiple passengers because race cars are not really cars in like the colloquial sense. Like they're specifically designed to go extremely fast in an extremely specific configuration.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at like just a brief Google, all of the like luxury car manufacturers like Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, like they all have like family SUVs with insane amounts of horsepower.
Why?
Yeah.
I have no idea why anybody would need that. I assume it's
Wild.
people who have a lot of money and think that cars are status symbols.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
Yeah.
There's no point because we've already established that the eraser's car can go 3,000 kilometers an hour.
That's true. Yeah, no Audi SUV is going to be able to match that.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
I
they
don't
did
think
their
they're in
best.
the area where they were gonna find a luxury car with a lot of horsepower.
No,
They should have stolen one of the eraser's cars.
they should have. Well, they stole the,
should've.
like, that poor, like, a minimum wage employee's work van.
Yeah.
Again! Like, just inconveniencing the regular person.
Yeah, like, that poor person is probably gonna get fired.
God, I hope
Yeah.
he's not a gig worker and that was his van.
Ooh. Was the gig economy a thing in 2006?
I don't think so.
Not quite yet.
No.
Anyway. As someone who
Anyway.
is anxious about driving, Max's driving just, like, made all of my insides contract in fear.
Yep, the scariest thing about driving is other people driving.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost witnessed an accident today, so
Ugh.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyway, let's talk about the next chapter, shall we? For when
Yes.
they get into an accident.
Or when they get into a car accident,
Oof,
which is
yeah.
definitely not high on my list of horrifying things that could realistically happen to me.
Yeah.
Max gets her nose broken by the airbag,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody else is just kind of banged around, except Fang, who was almost decapitated, according to Max, the 14-year-old hyperbolic panicking bird kid.
I mean, at the speed at which they T-boned, I'm shocked they are not worse off.
Yeah, it's their strong bird bones, I guess.
Yeah. They probably
Yeah, it
have
must
all
be.
kinds of cushioning in their head and neck
Mm,
for bird stuff that stops them from getting whiplash.
one would hope.
Yeah.
I know you can get like cross torso bruising and like cuts from seatbelts though.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
makes sense that Fang probably looks like he was nearly decapitated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's if you're wearing your seatbelt properly, it's like not really a thing that it can decapitate you, but if you are like a child or a small woman, there's a little bit of a risk.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the benefit of them all being tall
Yeah.
is that even with two 14-year-olds in the front seat, they probably didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I did look up Transport Canada's guidelines on when it's appropriate to get an airbag on-off switch to like deactivate your front seat airbags, but it's like pretty reasonably like intuitive and pretty extreme situations, like if you have an infant in a car seat, if you have someone with like brittle bones, if you are under 12. None of the rules apply to the bird kids, so they should be safe to I mean, as safe as you can possibly be in a car crash with an airbag deployment, but like the airbag is not going to hurt them other than Max's broken nose, which can happen to anybody.
Yeah, I think the height I saw was like you have to be at least 4 feet 9 inches.
Yeah,
That
and they're
sounds
all
right.
And it's like
huge.
surely well, just Max and Fang are in the front seat. Surely they are over 4 feet 9 inches.
Yeah, they're 5'8" and 6'2". I googled it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because 5'8" is like, well, actually neither of those heights is notably like above average for a
Wait, is
person
that
of
at
those
the end of the
sexes.
series though?
I didn't look too deeply into the Wikipedia page because I didn't want to get too spoiled.
Sure. Fair enough.
Like, even if it's their heights now, that would make them a little bit tall for their age, but not as like gangly as
True.
I was picturing based on how much Max has emphasized how tall and thin they all are.
I mean, maybe it's the thin part that's
That's
making
probably
them
the thin
seem
part.
Yeah.
crazy tall.
Yeah.
Anyway, they all need to go to the hospital
Yeah.
and not just get put in dog crates.
No. Even
No.
Iggy, who, quote, I feel like pudding with nerve endings, pudding in severe pain.
Oh.
What the hell, Iggy?
Those two
Like-
get away at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably have,
Which is
I mean,
shocking that they could even fly after that.
right?
Really?
They must just
Yeah.
have, like, extremely fast response times, which, again, I guess would make sense with the bird part.
I bet the
Yeah.
folded wings helps protect their like neck
Oh, yeah, and their
in
spine.
a car crash. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, because like birds have birds have like basically a fused spine
Ugh.
because it can't move.
Oh, I remember
around.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
otherwise it
remember
would be
learning
like
this.
not a stable base for their flight
Oh,
to
sure.
happen on, right? So I wonder if
Yeah.
they have like partially fused spinal columns.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, not ideal for humans, but in a teen.
Yeah. Nothing about the human spine is ideally engineered anyway.
Yeah.
Mine hurts at the moment.
Aw.
Classic spines.
Classic upright
Classic
bipedal posture, am I right?
doing great work over here. But unlike what Max says, don't disable airbags.
No, do not disable an airbag.
No, do not.
I mean, I think her implication here is that like without it she would have been fine, because they do go on about how they are like stronger just all over.
Yeah.
Very robust, more so than humans.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she would have been.
But I still feel like no matter how robust you are, hitting your head on a steering wheel at that speed versus an airbag is going to be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the implication, along with like the fused spine thing, is that she wouldn't hit her head on the steering wheel for whatever reason.
I guess. I'm just having a hard time mentally visualizing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I suppose, giving Max the benefit of the doubt, if I had just been punched in the face by an airbag, I would probably be feeling a little sour towards airbags in that exact moment.
I think also the issue is that the airbag... I think the issue for her right now also is that the airbag like pinned her to her seat.
Yeah.
Which is how the erasers probably got her and Fang so easily.
They deflate pretty quickly though, so but I guess they are the first kind of model of airbags. At least when mine went off, they deflate pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it pinned her to her seat as much as it slammed her back after she hit it.
Yeah, that's definitely what they do. Like it slams you back and then it essentially deflates almost right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but it did break her nose, which is probably pretty distracting. It's horrifying to poor Nudge, who's already like on the verge of a meltdown.
Yeah.
And poor girl.
Oh my god, I feel so bad.
Nudge,
I mean, I feel bad for all of them, but Nudge in particular.
Nudge specifically.
Oh, you know what? She needs to go to Ella's house for a sleepover.
Yeah, Nudge needs to be, I think, removed from this adventure.
Yeah, she should go home.
Nudge and Gasman, just send them home.
Yeah. I guess home is full of erasers too, but maybe like put them in a motel or something.
Anywhere else, yeah.
Leave them with the ferrugina socks. Come back for them on the way back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Iggy and Gasman get away.
Yeah,
Huzzah.
so that's good. Because we've seen the sorts of plans that those two concoct, and it's always good.
Always good, for sure.
Uh-huh. Definitely does not involve any homebrew bombs.
And then Ari, what is it?
Ari
is an
I
asshole.
think. Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
The worst.
Also, he's wearing hand-sewn Italian boots.
Why?
What's up with that detail?
I laughed at that so hard that that just had to be mentioned. I'm like, you're bleeding, you're being captured, and you're noticing that?
Right? This book has like such an economy of words, and you put all of these like extra adjectives into describing Ari's boots.
No, it's not Ari, it's somebody else. It's an eraser.
Yeah. I guess I was assuming it was Ari because Ari is the one who was later standing on Max's face.
Maybe, yeah.
But maybe it's not him.
I know, I was like, is this to reinforce that they look like male models? But I didn't think that was their clothes.
Right? I thought it was just their faces.
But I guess it makes sense.
Why do they need to dress so If you were like a secret Wolfman police out to collect some secret birdkid assets, would you not be wearing some kind of like tactical gear?
No, we've been
or,
over
like,
this.
Combat boots.
They need to look hot.
Yeah.
So everyone trusts them.
Okay, but they could look really hot in combat boots. Maybe these are hand-sewn Italian combat boots.
That's what I was just gonna say, yeah.
Hand-sewn Italian combat
Gucci
boots.
work boots.
Yeah.
Gucci.
Wow, I hate that mental image.
Yep. This feels like a kid who's been radicalized.
Yeah, sure does, huh?
Yep.
In 2023, Ari would be an incel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
He'd be writing a manifesto.
He sure would. He's gonna go out and shoot
Awful.
a bunch of women.
I don't want to think about it anymore. Let's talk about the next chapter.
Okay,
Yep.
before we talk about the next chapter, can we talk about the fact that Ari, the genetically modified 9-year-old, outweighs Max by, she says, 160 pounds, which is like an entire person. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Right.
Like, granted, bird kids are light because they have hollow bones.
Yeah.
And these wolfmen are probably exceptionally muscular and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still crazy to me.
That's still a lot. I mean, he was an adult man
Yeah.
in shape.
Yeah, he's a 9-year-old adult man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Max probably weighs less than 100 pounds.
Probably.
Anyway. But still, that's a big 9-year-old.
Yep. I mean, Gasman is 8.
Gasman isn't 160 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, you know what's not big?
Uh-huh.
Angel's dog crate. It's a medium.
Yeah.
It's
Great segue.
Terrible.
Yeah, I'll see myself out.
It's just why would it even be? The sizes are large and medium. Like, why would you say a big crate? I'm in a medium. Just the writers, you know?
Yeah. I was just like, this is the kind of like dark humor that I generally enjoy, but I think I was just kind of upset already from the entire premise of what's happening in this book that I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
They put her in a dog crate for small dogs.
Yeah. We've been over this. It doesn't make any sense.
It's so ridiculous.
Why?
Okay, I have an aside that's related to this that I've been dying to talk about.
Okay.
Have either of you seen the most recent Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
No.
We'll keep it very general. Basically, there's a whole segment of the same kind of thing where someone does like extremely weird experiments on animals just for the sake of doing weird experiments and then puts them into like unsanitary cages in between experiments. It was just like sawdust on the ground and like the bars are rusty and whatever. And I'm like, this is exactly what we've been talking about. I was upset from both a humanitarian standpoint and a scientific standpoint. It's like, there's no
reason.
There's absolutely no reason.
You went through all this effort to do these like gross animal experiments and then you put your animal in a dirty cage. It's gonna get an infection.
You literally need to reduce the number of variables as much as possible.
Oh my god. And they're all different animals and
they're all
different
in
bird kids.
Different cages. They're oh my god, anyway.
I mean,
Awful.
we've talked about this a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very bad science.
It's very bad science.
More than just the torture and terrible treatment of children, but
Yep.
that's the
But
start.
also that part.
Also
Yeah.
that part. And all of the kids are reacting to their cages in different but equally traumatized ways.
Yeah, and it doesn't even like you can't even use the excuse of like, well, what does stress even look like in this species? It's like, no, it's a human.
It's
you
a
know
human.
what stress looks like in a human.
That's bullshit.
Yep. It's like, see your emo teen over there? He's straight up just dissociating.
Yep.
Max doesn't have the word to describe that, but she's like, oh, she says that she can see Fang retreating into himself because it's the only place left to hide. And I'm like, that's how you get dissociative identity disorder and all of these other like really serious mental illnesses that accompany childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Well, even Angel, like physically, like eyes hollow, face smudged with a purple shadows. One whole side of her face is a bruise. She looks thin and dry. It's like, oh my god.
Right? You can't
Physically. You know what a human looks like when it's being maltreated. Anyway, it's fine. It's not fine.
It's not.
It's not fine.
The thing is with these the next 2 chapters, this is the only thing that happens in the chapters. So it's like all we can talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing good happens.
No, it's all bad.
The closest thing to good is Max is relieved that Angel's alive, and they can almost touch each other through the bars of their cages.
Yeah, great. So good.
So cool.
Yeah. What a good time. What a good time.
Guys, it sucks.
It sucks so bad.
I don't know how I'm supposed to make jokes about this.
Yeah.
I feel terrible
I guess
right now.
because it's the whole concept of the podcast, Max, when Jeb is about to appear,
Mm-hmm.
is totally wired on adrenaline. Just
yep.
nuts.
Yep.
Because Angel is like having PTSD in front of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm gonna fight whatever comes out of that door. And then it's Jeb. So I, for lack of knowing what else to do, I looked up fear response.
Great.
Yep, that checks.
Let's hide our discomfort behind some biology.
Yeah. How's that sound?
Sounds fantastic to me.
Yeah.
Please start.
Sounds, and the only mildly amusing part is that birds puff up when they're scared.
Yeah.
To try and be more intimidating.
And don't they open their mouth real wide?
Yeah, some of them.
That's kind of fun.
Oh.
Have you ever seen like an owl?
Yeah.
Where it just turns into like a huge, like they open their wings slightly and then they crouch over and then they poof up, so they just look like this huge poof with eyeballs in the middle. And I am just kind of imagining that with the bird kids.
Yeah.
And it's still sad, but it's kind of funny.
I feel like for me the mental image of like poofy bird kid with like the mouth open threat display is very funny until I then like interpose pictures of like shell-shocked teen soldiers from the world wars on top of it.
Yeah.
And then it's less funny.
Then when I remember that Max's face is covered in blood, I'm like, well, not as funny anymore.
Yeah, she's actively having flashbacks as this is happening.
Yeah, she's like, I was seeing flashes of the strangest images. What was that all about? I think she's having magic, actually.
She's having magic?
I don't think it's PTSD because she...
Oh, really? I can't tell if you're being sincere or not.
No, but I think so.
Oh.
Because it's not, like, she doesn't say she's remembering stuff that was happening, right?
Yeah. But, like, she could have been remembering things that her, like, conscious mind had repressed due to the severity of the torture that she endured as a child.
Maybe. I thought because at the beginning it says the smells were awakening horrible memories I had buried deep a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then later it says, and I was seeing flashes of the strangest images.
Interesting.
So I'm like, I don't think it's memories.
Interesting.
Like, doesn't Angel learn how to like project thoughts or something like that?
I know. I mean, Renesmee does that.
Oh. I was like,
oh no.
Right. Angel is Edward Cullen. I forgot.
Yeah.
Back to the fear response.
Yes.
Yeah. Just because a fear response in humans is also technically to, like, you get like goosebumps, which is your hair rising on your arms.
Uh-huh.
I am just sort of imagining that maybe they have a slightly stronger response. So like their hair is also poofing up a little bit on their head along with the feathers.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's fun and not awful.
Extremely poofy.
Extremely poofy hair.
Yeah.
Big wings.
Protect.
Max protect her baby.
Yeah.
Her chick.
Yeah. Because the other problem is that their heart rate and breathing rate probably increases, which means it's probably really fast because they were already likely higher as bird kids.
God, this mental image is something.
Terrible.
Pretty bad.
Bad.
Hate everything.
I mostly hate Jeb, I think.
Yeah.
Like Max. Max also hates Jeb now.
Heck, that guy.
Yeah.
So much.
Oh my god.
Like, so much more than when I was 14 and reading this.
Yeah. He like walks in. Max is in pure no thoughts only fight mode.
Yeah.
And she is so shocked to see him that she literally falls over. And his response is to say, "Oh, I've missed you." Like, fuck off.
Fuck that guy so much.
Absolutely, get out of here. No, shut up. Oh my god. I'm gonna fight this fictional man.
With Jeb, it feels less like the other scientists who are not actively not realizing they have the cognition of a human being.
Yeah.
With Jeb, it feels like the condescension that people do to kids all the time.
Yeah.
Like really, the really bad one
Yeah.
where they don't believe that kids have like understanding of the world around them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He is either not noticing or doesn't care that Max specifically, but presumably also Nudge and Fang. Max is having like a pretty extreme reaction to seeing him again after he, clearly actively tried to become a parental figure to them or to have them see him as a parental figure and then disappeared.
Yeah. Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I think what I'm trying to get at is that it feels like Jeb would be a piece of shit to fully 100% human kids.
Yes, it does.
You know?
Yeah.
But also, wow.
Like, who does that?
I mean, let's roll right into the next chapter where he's still a piece of shit.
Yeah.
The thing is we don't get to end on like a better chapter. It's
No.
just all bad because in this one, it's just Max being like, wow, here were all the most important moments of my life that Jeb helped me realize. And now I just have to cut that off.
Yeah.
Also, we thought he was dead and mourned him for a while.
Yeah, like the way she describes the grief that they experienced is very brief, but very visceral almost. Like there's a lot of very strong adjectives and adverbs to describe how Max and the others felt upon realizing that Jeb was never coming back.
Yeah. I kind of wonder, because I think from further reading of this series, like Jeb was involved right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the people who started the whole project.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Right, because I think he's actually Max's dad.
Yeah. That's what I thought we talked about this before, didn't we? I think.
Yeah.
Or I just thought about this in my head before that he's definitely her father.
Or he might not be, just because I feel like Ari is like in love with Max.
Oh.
At some point later.
I mean, Ari might not know that they're siblings.
But I feel like they wouldn't put it in the book.
I mean, City of Bones was published.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think they would have put it in this one, because I remember reading City of Bones and being like, what the fuck? And if it had been in this book, I would have done that already.
I mean, Game of Thrones was also published.
That's true. The impression I had of Ari, and this is just basing on like 15-year-old memories at this point, so who knows how good it is, but that like he realized that he was on the bad side, quote unquote, not even quote unquote, he was on the bad side and wanted Max to help because he didn't know who else could help him. And it was more of a like desperate clinging than a romantic affection in my memory. But again,
I also seem to have more of a memory of him wanting her to join like his side because they're siblings. But I could just be thinking of that because I'm pretty sure Jeb is her father.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure too. I feel like Ari dies.
That's
I think he
in
does
my
too.
head. It's that like he's kind of in love with Max, but it is kind of like an 8-year-old being in love with anybody.
Yeah.
But and then it's like he dies at some point saving them. Like he realizes.
That sounds right.
And
yeah.
But like for some reason those two things are intertwined in my head.
Interesting. Well, that's something to look forward to.
Something to figure out. Not in this book probably. But anyway, regardless of where I was going with this originally was that like Max is like, oh, Jeb kidnapped us 4 years ago, and then all of these heartfelt moments that now mean nothing, worse than nothing. But it's like, okay, so was he not involved at all before that? Because I would think, like, is it just that it sort of wipes it away? Like, okay, Jeb was one of the white coats who was working on us, but then he stole us away and saved us.
I thought that was the whole premise. Yeah.
Me too. I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
to listeners, we don't re-listen to all of our episodes before we start recording, so we might forget details. But I feel like it has been mentioned that like Jeb worked for them and then stole them away.
Because it just feels like now that we've read more of the book and we've experienced the white coats firsthand in the book, like I'm trying to imagine the way Riley or whatever the hell Riley treated Angel, but then he's like, oh, I'm gonna take you out of here. It's like, well,
I'm pretty sure he was there from the start, because that was probably a way to get the kids to trust him, was because he was seen as the bad guy, but then like turned, got them out, gave them all this stuff, and so it helped build that trust.
Do you think it's just showing the extent of how manipulative he is, that he was like able to twist it so it's like, no, I only did it so that I could get you out of there?
100%. And I think I feel like it's going to come up in this next chapter. Like I feel like the conversation between Jeb and Max is going to highlight it even further, and that's 100% exactly what was happening.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Or happened, one of those things.
Yeah. And I could see it being like, even if they know that he was like one of the white coats before he stole them away, the fact that they now love him like a parent probably kind of like cancels out the memories a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very easy to have cognitive dissonance about people you love, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder if that's how, like, that was part of the experiment, to see if he could make them forget.
I hate that.
Yeah, the whole house portion was clearly part of the experiment,
Yeah, clearly.
Wow.
I feel like reading these chapters in particular, but also throughout the whole thing, it would be so much more interesting for us to read this book if any of us like knew much about psychology, because I feel like there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on here, but I don't know anything.
And I don't want to look into it. It seems sad.
It does seem sad.
It seems sad here.
But science, though.
We
can hide our sad feelings behind science.
I was trying with poofy feathers.
Unfortunately, that's like the only thing to science, unless you want to get into like panic responses in humans.
Yeah, the only other science that I could bring up is that it mentions that Angel's feathers are really limp and dirty.
Oh, yeah.
Which implies that the bird kids don't have a preen gland.
Aw.
Because
they need to have showers.
So, or all the groups that don't have preen glands have dust baths.
Oh.
Because preen oil, which is when you see a bird preening its feathers, they have like a gland above their tail where oil comes out of, essentially. And they use it to like waterproof their feathers. And all the groups that don't have the oil don't really take water baths. They kind of just dust bathe.
I mean, that kind of checks.
So the bird kids just rolling around on the ground.
Just rolling around in the dirt.
Dust absorbs oils, which accumulate. I'm assuming in feathers the same way in our hair.
Especially if you're 98% human.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe they have to wear big shower caps over their feathers.
They just have to hold their wings outside of the shower. They have like a stall shower. And they have to stand and like facing with their wing. Anyway.
Yeah. Have you ever seen those pictures of like anhingas?
I don't know what that
is. They look like cormorants, but they're called snake birds also. They're in Florida. They look like cormorants, but they're much pointier. But the difference is that they get fully waterlogged. They hunt underwater. So they like kind of swim like penguins, but they can fly. So they have full wings, but their wings get waterlogged completely. Like the feathers get full of water.
Okay.
And so no other birds do that really, because then you can't fly. And so the anhinga has to like stand with its wings just like half spread, drying, and they just look so bedraggled and unhappy. And so maybe that's what the bird kids do also.
Yeah. I think at least in Nova Scotia, cormorants do the same thing.
Yeah, cormorants like dry out,
Yeah,
but they don't
have to.
They don't have to technically. Yeah.
I encourage anybody listening to Google a picture of an anhinga swimming because the entire body is underwater and it's just the head sticking out and it's very funny.
They are very funny.
I do like it. I mean, not to bring the mood down, but I'm going to bring it back down for a second.
I tried to bring it back up.
It could just be that angle.
Angle?
Could just be that Angel has been locked in a box and doesn't have the space and is also depressed and therefore is not preening her wings.
Angle. Poor Angle.
Poor Angle.
Poor Angle.
She can be your devil or your Angle.
Truly.
Versatile.
Okay.
Can we
yeah, I don't want to talk about these chapters anymore, so let's guess what's going to happen in the next ones. Probably better, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
We're only like halfway through the book, so I don't know that it's accurate that somebody gets to punch Jeb in the face yet, but I hope somebody does.
Someday.
Okay, chapter 61. Jeb and I walked past a bank of computers, out of sight of the others.
Well, that's not that helpful.
They're going for their chat. They're going to go have a chat. Maybe Max will punch him.
Time.
Max is going to just be in full, like, sit down, shut up mode, trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah. Who knows? Not
Jeb
me.
is going to be like, no, I came back because I heard they were hunting you. Something. And I tried to get them off your scent.
Jeb is a liar.
He's even worse than Edward.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
It is saying a lot.
Edward Cullen belongs in jail, and so does Jeb.
And Jeb belongs in hell.
New series. Chapter 62.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I couldn't help it.
She's reacting to him?
Yeah. Maybe feeling some sort of way to Jeb. Like maybe he did something and she's like feeling grateful and can't help it.
Made her some fresh cookies.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Let her have a bath.
I forgot
in dust or water.
It is what Jeb says. Okay.
Oh, wait, what does he say? Oh, I want to know now. Shit.
Anyway, chapter 63. Maybe it will be revealed in the next chapter.
Okay.
Chapter 63. Hours went by.
That's not... She's back in the cage?
Probably.
Or he's holding her in like some separate room to like try and get an answer out of her, like a police interrogation room kind of thing.
Yikes.
I don't know. It's a guess.
Yeah, it's a guess.
Great guess. Okay, chapter 64.
Uh-huh.
The funny thing about facing imminent death is that it really snaps everything else into perspective.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Just a nice little maximum quip there.
Yeah.
There's going to be some depressing episodes coming out. Jeez.
Yeah. I hope everybody who listens to us is good at practicing self-care.
Yeah.
Because we're not doing it.
We're not. But hopefully you are.
I mean...
No guesses?
I don't know. I think are they like threatening her with like some sort of torture or death or something to get her to talk? I don't know.
I feel like I have a weird memory of Max being in some kind of arena at the school being chased by erasers, including Ari. And I don't know if that's going to be like a flashback or if I've like smushed a bunch of memories together or completely made it up, but maybe it's something like that. Like they're getting ready to start the testing again, and one of the tests is you have to outrun these erasers.
I'd buy that. That sounds more legit than what I said. Same kind of thing, I guess, but different, you know?
Yeah, yours is more logical, and mine is more it happened for the plot.
Which is very common in this book.
Yeah. I don't know. Something horrible.
Something horrible.
Something horrible.
Great guesses all.
Yeah,
Let's
for sure.
talk about what else we're reading that is not this book.
That's such a good idea.
That's such a great idea. I finally, it's not that far, since we're recording in advance. I started and finished A Marvelous Light. The book club book, and it was very good. I liked it a lot.
Your shit? It seems like
it's my shit.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
I think I read 3/4 of it in one day.
Oh.
until 2 a.m.
Oh.
And then I also picked back up. I think it was so long ago that I would have said I started reading this, but I fell off it. Now I'm getting back on the Library of the Unwritten book. So I'm reading The God of Lost Words. I think I stopped because it hadn't grabbed me in the first couple chapters, and then like the next chapter I read, I was like, oh yeah, I like these books. So yeah, now I'm back on that one.
Nice.
It's good, but that's it because I'm still not reading a lot.
I mean, I don't have much to add either, but I did successfully finish 2 things since our last recording, which was Ashford Parker Doesn't Fail and Hellbent.
Nice.
Both like a solid 4 stars. So I really want the next Alex Stern book though, Lee Bardugo.
Right?
Please write it. I need to know. I was like,
I gotta have it.
I know. I was like telling Sophie, I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. And then the ending, and I was like, God damn it, Lee Bardugo.
Right? And because it's Lee Bardugo,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like 2 years minimum.
Nah.
Like, the paperback for Hellbent will have already been out for a year, and then we'll finally get the announcement for the 3rd one. Anyways, I will wait patiently. Other than that, I started one new book, which was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I don't know if I'm going to finish it because it's traumatic and anyways, it's a lot. If you're going to read it, just be mentally prepared.
For what?
Like grief and yeah, mostly grief. Yeah. But anyways, there's going to be a movie about it, which is why I wanted to read it, but I don't know if I want to finish it. How about you, Hannah?
I have read 2 things since last week. I read The First Bright Thing by J.R. Dawson, which is about a magical circus whose ringmaster is like a deeply traumatized queer woman with time-traveling magic trying to like escape her abusive ex-partner and kind of help other people using her magic.
Dang.
It was quite good. I liked it a lot. You should definitely read it. I feel like both of you would really like it for probably different reasons, but it was really good. I definitely recommend checking it out. Definitely be wary if you are like sensitive to like gaslighting or abusive relationships.
Oh no, I might not read it.
It's a good one. It's got a fan family, so that was nice for me. Some magic. Anyway, I also read The Nameless Restaurant by Tao Wang, which is a cozy cooking fantasy novella. And I was excited because it's set in Toronto, in the Kensington Market. But it's so short that nothing actually happened in it. But I listened to the audiobook and the narrator said that it was Toronto, pronounced the way I pronounced Toronto, which is incorrect with all of the T's enunciated, and I thought that was very funny. And I was like, oh, she's not from here.
We've been over this.
Yeah.
It's like 1 syllable.
It's like 1 syllable. You only pronounce 1 T if you're lucky.
Yeah. Usually it's a CH.
Yep. But yeah, Toronto. Toronto. I say Toronto because I'm that person.
Not from there either.
Oh yeah, I don't say the second T.
It's CHRONNO. Is how...
Yeah, Toronto.
Toronto.
I say it the correct way because my mom was from Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Toronto sounds really weird now.
Toronto.
Semantic satiation. Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm also reading Who Gets Believed When the Truth Isn't Enough by Dina Nayeri, and it is intense so far.
Yeah, that does not sound fun.
No.
I was expecting it to be a little more into like the psychology and social science of like why some people are more likely to be taken at face value than others, and I feel like it might get into that. But so far it's like half angry memoir and half angry recounting of people who were like falsely imprisoned or tortured for not giving the correct information. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Hannah, you were reading a suite of books.
I'm all over the place, baby.
I feel like Hannah and I are diverging, where Hannah's going into books that are like more and more and more traumatic, like more and more and more hurting her feelings, and I'm going into books that hurt my feelings even less, like less and less and less.
That seems accurate.
Yeah. I'm just somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And here I thought Sam was the one who sought out hurty feeling books.
Yeah, but Sam's stressed right now.
Yeah, I'm very stressed right now. I don't know if I'm in the right mindset for that at the moment.
Yeah, that's understandable. You should wait until you can channel all of your stress into fiction.
Yeah.
Like maybe in July, when we will be reading Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, that probably won't be too stressful, maybe.
I was gonna say, I hope it's not traumatic or hurting my feelings, because I don't want it to be.
No, I've heard it's a very whimsical, fairy tale-esque story.
Oh, those are Sophie's words.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, well, Sophie's read one Brando Sando with me, so
yeah.
But I was like, no, this is gonna be the one, I think. And I haven't seen a single bad review from it. Like, I don't think I've seen a single person who dislikes this book. And everyone just describes it as like a feel-good book.
Yay!
Well, anyway, if you liked this chapter of Midlight Crisis, consider rating and reviewing us on Spotify or your podcatcher of choice. You can talk to us and find fun-related content on all of the social medias. We are at Midlight Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Tumblr, and Blue Sky. And all chapters of the show thus far are available on our website, midlightpod.podbean.com, and on YouTube.
And for the three of us, when we have anything to do at all, I coiled my muscles, narrowing my eyes, and putting on my fiercest look. That didn't make sense either.
Listen, it's hard to do anything ever, and sometimes you just have to brace yourself.
Yeah.
And look angry about it.
You read these chapters and then try to find a funny quote.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Guys, I can't believe I forgot to tell you. I was at a work event and I talked to someone about sharks for several minutes, and then he left and came back 10 minutes later and said, I just need to know, do you play D&D? You look like you play D&D.